Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, here once again with some more Aztec. I believe this is the final one. The final one. This is a huge entire. Actually, the Aztecs are pretty small series, but as far as this part of the world kind of thing, doing like the Incas, the Mayas, the Aztecs. This is the final episode, and it's been very interesting and definitely eye-opening. To kind of know this part of the world and how they kind of worked, and I don't know, it's just very different than the stuff we've been doing. So definitely really cool stuff. So I'm trying to remember where we're at. Oh yeah, the fall of Tenochtitlan. That's right. They're having to have a siege or something going on here. Um, Spain kind. I'm trying to remember. They kind of they basically killed like everyone in that town, and they like slaughtered them. Cortez kind of had to leave because he was going to be arrested or he was going to be killed because he kind of went rogue from Spain, and he left when he wasn't supposed to leave to kind of do a mission on his own, and obviously Spain's not very happy with him, but I think he thinks that if he does a really good job, that maybe Spain will accept him back and he'll be like a hero or something. I don't know. I don't know. I think I might be way off because, like I said, it's been a couple days. But anyways, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button below. And it's kind of cool that this series because because we do a lot of Europe stuff. This Spain, obviously Spain's a part of Europe, but to kind of see him out away from Spain, to see like what they kind of their impact on the world away from Europe, and wow, I didn't realize how much of an impact they really had. So definitely an eye-opening to me, really cool. But let's finish this off, and obviously this will be following me. I guess this is gonna be the fall of the Aztecs, I guess. Then I guess Spain just likes to come in, just like destroy everything over here in this part of the world. They just like to, hey, wow, this is all mine. I'm just gonna take everything, and there's nothing you can do about it, kind of thing. But anyways, guys, like and subscribe. Let's jump into this. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Dun, dun, dun. Life's been kind of hectic lately, but in a good way. So yeah. 3, 2, 1, bam.
Initially friendly, relationships between the Aztecs and the Spaniards became hostile, as the latter took the Emperor Moctezuma hostage and killed many local nobles. But now the great city of Tenochtitlan is in open rebellion, and the forces of Cortez are stuck in the middle of a hostile city. Yet the Spanish conquistador has more tricks up his sleeve. The bloody battle that will decide the fate of millions will soon reach its conclusion.
That's right. Cortez has something up his sleeve. I mean, he didn't just like take off on his own from Cuba to do this mission without having some smarts and knowing what he was doing. So, I mean, I definitely, obviously, this is the fall, so obviously I expect him to come out on top. I guess the manner and the genius he does, because I don't know. I want to say like the people here, I guess, are gullible. I guess they kind of they just don't know. They don't know like what goes on in Europe. They don't know like the history of just I kind of just how things are. I think they're I think the Incas, the Mayan. I think they're just very They kind of like they trust people until they kind of give them a reason not to, and I think trust kind of backfires on them. But then again, maybe it's just they're just advanced civilizations. Spain is a very more advanced when it comes to warfare and everything, and so there's that hurdle they got to overleap. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm jumping into this. I just blabber on about anything.
Rocks were flung into the building from nearby roofs, and the Spaniards' quarters were repeatedly set on fire. Cortez sent Moctezuma to the roof of the building to beg for peace. His own people pelted him with rocks. The sources...
Well, yeah, he's a dang hostage. I mean, if someone I knew or whatever was caught by the enemy and was up there saying, don't do this. Obviously, he's being told what to do, kind of thing. And I don't know, man. Maybe he's really afraid for his life, and I think he normally would be like, "Yeah, take him on. Don't worry about me. Get him. We have to win this." I don't know. I don't know anything apparently.
Disagree here, but Moctezuma either died from his wounds caused by the rocks or was strangled by the conquistadors. He no
Wow.
longer served a purpose. The Spaniards noted that the Mexica did not fight at night. So, during a rainy night on the 1st of July 1520, later called La Noche Triste, the Night of Sorrow, they attempted to flee. As the bridges had been removed, Cortés's men constructed a portable bridge to cross. Most of the expedition had crossed when they were spotted. The drums of war on top of the Great Pyramid were sounded. The retreat quickly turned into a panic. The entire causeway was then under attack from innumerable canoes. The bridge was broken. Half the Spanish Tlaxcalan army was thrashing in the water. Many of the soldiers and the horses, the cannon, and much of the gold was lost. Bodies began to fill the gaps in the causeway, and men had to run across their fallen comrades. Cortés himself fell in the water, but was rescued. The Spaniards eventually managed to crawl to the mainland. During La Noche Triste, 3/4 of Cortés's men were lost. It was the worst defeat suffered by Cortés. His native allies lost thousands, but he could still continue fighting and retreated to Tlaxcala to lick his wounds. However,
You lost 3/4 of those men. Like, that's gigantic. I don't know how you come back from that. 3/4. All right, Cortés, what do you got up your sleeve, man? Obviously, you do have some.
fighting and retreated to Tlaxcala to lick his wounds. However, the Mexica could hardly celebrate. Tenochtitlan was badly burned, 2 kings of the Triple Alliance were dead, and the nobility had been wiped out. Cuitlahuac was quickly elected emperor and tried to organize further counterattacks against the Spanish. He offered a perpetual alliance to the Tlaxcala, and this offer caused divides within the Tlaxcalan leadership. However, another deadly weapon soon aided the Spaniards. One of the men had smallpox. Within a year, 40% of Tenochtitlan succumbed to the disease, along with its new emperor, Cuitlahuac. Farmers lay dead in their fields, famine hit, and tribute stopped coming in. Cuitlahuac was succeeded in Tenochtitlan by his cousin, Cuauhtemoc. While he was being crowned, Cortés was planning something that hadn't been seen in the region since the rise of the Mexica: a siege. He would choke and starve Tenochtitlan. One by one, the smallpox-weakened cities around Tenochtitlan fell to the Spanish Tlaxcalan forces. Soon Tenochtitlan and its neighbor, Tlatelolco, flooded with refugees from destroyed cities, stood alone. With the
Man, it's like smallpox again. It just makes me wonder, what things, how life would be now, just as far as, growth and all these, you know, like the Inca, Maya, Aztecs, like just say like these, like the smallpox, these diseases never happened. I'm so curious to see like what would have become of these civilizations if they just didn't happen, because obviously they would have a lot more strength and they'd be able to fight back against European armies. So wow, this man, history would be a lot different. So yeah, Cortez had smallpox up his sleeve. That's where I guess that wasn't really up his sleeve, but he knows something about sieges, and apparently, obviously, they don't around here. So yeah, they're starving him out. I guess until they give up. I guess I don't know.
The city now surrounded, Cortés began planning for a siege. Using the now Spanish-controlled Texcoco as an arsenal, the Spanish built 12 flat-bottomed brigantines. Due to recent reinforcements, the Spaniards numbered about 90 horsemen, 120 crossbowmen and arquebusiers, and several hundred footmen, alongside 3 large and 15 small cannons. According to the sources, the number of native allies was anywhere from 50,000 to 500,000.
Wow.
Cortés had more than enough allies for labor and fighting in the upcoming siege. He organized his forces into 4 divisions, 1 on the water and 3 land divisions, which would be captained by Pedro de Alvarado, Gonzalo de Sandoval, and Cristobal de Olid. Each had around 30 horsemen, 14 crossbowmen and arquebusiers, along with 250 footmen, alongside thousands of native warriors and laborers. Alvarado would assault via the Tlacopan Causeway, Olid via the Coyoacan Causeway, and Sandoval via the Iztapalapa Causeway. Cortés commanded the ships. He knew that taking the causeways and securing water control were the only ways to take the city. On the 22nd of May 1521, the captains left for their respective causeways. Once in position, Alvarado cut the great aqueduct at Chapultepec, forcing the Mexica to drink from the few fresh sources within the city. Cuauhtémoc had allowed the Spanish Tlaxcalan forces to take up positions around the city without much of a fight. He had learned that fighting the Spanish on open ground was far too disadvantageous. On the 1st of June, the Spanish ships sailed out into the lake. Reinforcing this armada were apparently 16,000 war canoes under the Texcoco general Ixtlilxochitl. Cortés used them to assault the Mexica intelligence center at Tepepulco. From there, smoke signals informed Tenochtitlan of the Spanish movements. Thousands of war canoes launched from the canals in Tenochtitlan smashed against the ships.
Thousands of war, man. What another sight to see. If you could just like stay on the coast here and just if you could just kind of be a ghost and walking around to see how all this plays out, man, that'd be kind of crazy to see. And there's so many boats. I'd love to go to something like some kind of reenactment. Is there some place in the world that has these giant reenactments? I would love to go. I love seeing that kind of stuff. That'd be so cool to kind of see, especially with ships and stuff. That'd be cool. Anyways.
War canoes launched from the canals in Tenochtitlan smashed against the ships. The overwhelming size and firepower of the brigantines proved too much, and soon established dominance over the lake.
Yeah, figured.
For the following weeks, little progress was made. By day, the conquistadors tried to fight up the causeways towards the city. War canoes on their flanks, wooden spikes planted in the causeway gaps, and thousands of Mexica warriors hindered their progress. Each day, the Spaniards would withdraw back to their camps on the mainland. Each morning, they awoke to all their progress undone and new gaps dug. In an attempt to break the stalemate, Cortés planned an assault with the goal of piercing deep into the city. On the 10th of June, he ordered Sandoval and Alvarado to fight as hard as possible up their causeways and move towards Axayacatl. Cortés and Olid, with 200 infantry and thousands of natives, marched from the Xaluc causeway with naval support on their flanks. The fighting was heavy throughout the day. Native allies worked furiously to fill the gaps in the causeway. Ships rained fire down upon the defending warriors and canoes, and by the afternoon, Cortés's division had reached the Gate of the Eagle. Cortés charged into a plaza, set up a large cannon, and began to fire into the mass of Mexica warriors challenging them. They took control of the temple precinct rapidly, but soon the war drums atop the Great Pyramid sounded, and it became clear that a great host of Mexica warriors were on the way. By foot and canoes, they swarmed the precinct and assaulted Cortés's division. Cortés ordered a full retreat, leaving behind the cannon, which the Mexica pushed into the lake. While retreating, Cortés...
I guess they didn't know how to use cannons. They didn't know what to think of them. Maybe they thought they were just these magic things, that killed them. But they were definitely not using what they, because they could have. I guess they could have used that to their advantage and try and shoot these ships or shoot whatever. But instead, they just threw it into the lake. I guess maybe that just wasn't just part of their thing. I don't know. They just weren't sure, and if they weren't sure if they're not going to use it, they're going to make sure that the Spaniards weren't going to use it. But It definitely seems kind of interesting. You get this big advantage of you got this new technology, and you know it's awesome, and it kills people like like crazy, and you think you'd be excited to have it. That you can kind of turn it around and use it against them, but they just threw it in the water. I'm just guessing because there's a big like I said, the communication between the both sides. I'm sure they probably just don't know how to use it. That'd be my guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Cortes ordered the men to burn as many buildings as possible to remove cover from which the Mexica could fire down on them and to flatten the ground for cavalry. Sandoval and Alvarado made progress up the causeway but could not push into the city. While the assault failed, it did change the minds of some neutral native city-states. More allies began to join Cortes's cause. With more native allies, the work to fill in the canals could be done quicker. Unsettled by Cortes's progress at filling in the causeway and pushing into the city, Cuauhtémoc ordered the bulk of his people into the precincts at Tlatelolco. Cortes maintained this strategy of slowly filling in the causeways, moving inch by inch into the city, and burning and destroying what he could before retreating. Patience was the key to victory, not rash action and recklessness. De Alvarado, though, could no longer wait. He decided to take half of his cavalry and push forward up the causeway. The charge broke the Mexica defenses, and the Spaniards chased them into the city. It was a trap. Soon the Spaniards were among houses, surrounded by a horde of warriors. Their retreat was cut off by the canoes. Pursued and trapped, they had no choice but to try and wade through the water. Some impaled themselves on spikes planted there. Others were captured, and many others were chopped down by the Mexica.
They had spikes in the water, so they jumped in the water to escape, and they basically jumped on spikes unknowingly. Dang, that's brutal.
There, others were captured, and many others were chopped down by the Mexica. Few managed to escape. Cortes was furious and traveled across the lake to personally scold Alvarado. But after noting how far Alvarado had managed to get, he decided that a concentrated push to the Tlatelolco marketplace should be their goal. Other factors were also pressuring Cortes to try more desperate measures. Food and morale were getting low, and the Mexica had learned how to attack the ships. Numerous Spaniards had been dragged from the ships, and some of them destroyed. Control of the lake was now challenged. On the 30th of June, Cortes pushed up the southern causeway in a massive assault and pushed into the city. Then he divided his forces into 3 groups, each tasked with taking one road leading to the great marketplace in Tlatelolco. De Alderetti's group made rapid progress towards the marketplace, shoddily filling in gaps over the canals as they went. As they neared the marketplace, the Mexica sprung an ambush, and the Spaniards were forced to retreat across the hastily filled canals.
Damn.
But their bridge was too narrow. Cortes, hearing of the disaster, rode to assist. The fighting was so chaotic that all Cortes could do was pull drowning men from the water, but most of them were being pulled up from the...
I'm sorry, man. I'm pulling for whoever's against Cortez. I forget, whatever the Aztecs here. It's like I know they're gonna lose, but that's because obviously we know they're gonna lose. But it's like, yeah, come on, Aztec guys, surround them. You got them on the run here. Looks like go for it.
The other...
Because like I say, if you can cut off the head of the snake, get Cortez out of there. Like these other clans or whatnot, they might think twice and just back out of this war completely. And the other leaders of Spain might be just like, okay, this is not our war. This is good. Let's just go home. Cortez is gone. Let's just give up and go home. So get Cortez, and I think you have really a good shot.
The side by the Mexica warriors and dragged off. In the chaos, Cortes was seized by the Mexica, and only the quick actions of his footman, who sacrificed himself, saved him. A few dozen Spaniards and thousands of native allies had died in the fighting, with dozens of Spaniards taken alive. From their camps, the conquistadors could see their comrades dragged up the pyramids in the city and their hearts offered to the gods. This completely demoralized the conquistadors and their allies. But that soon changed. A Spanish ship had docked nearby, bringing crossbows, horses, and desperately needed gunpowder. The bitter back and forth started again, with the filling of canals and the fighting on the causeways. It seemed, however, that with each passing night, the Mexica rebuilt less and less. By now, the city was suffering from extreme starvation, and the people were forced to drink the salty lake water.
Uh-oh. Don't do that.
Now Cortés was able to make permanent progress into the city. The allies who were used to fill the gaps now served as warriors. During the final days of July, the Spanish instigated a series of surges into the city that pushed the Mexica further into the Tlatelolco marketplace and surrounding precincts. On the 27th of July, Alvarado finally pushed into the marketplace and killed those left defending it. Cuauhtémoc's last-ditch effort to push back the Spaniards was to elect a sacred Quetzal warrior. Placed in a ceremonial costume, covered with resplendent feathers and made to look massive by way of wooden frames, this warrior scared the Spaniards. Pushing through, this warrior is said to have captured 3 men at once and dragged them to Cuauhtémoc for immediate sacrifice.
Wow.
The Spaniards began to withdraw, and Mexica morale increased as the Quetzal pushed further.
That's awesome.
But this final act of valor could not turn the tide of the siege. As reported by native sources, the warrior dropped from a terrace, never to be seen again. The Mexica could fight no more. Starvation had wrecked the city, disease had taken hold, and women and children were filling the ranks of the Mexica army. Cuauhtémoc knew the city was lost. Alvarado's men pushed into the final holdout in Tlatelolco on the 13th of August. There they caught Cuauhtémoc.
Yeah, once you go down to women and children, that's all you have left to fight with, man. Just give up, man. Try and spare, your people, man. You're done for. You're not going to win once you get down to women and children. But then they kept fighting with them. Jeez. Maybe they volunteer. They wanted to do it. You never know. But, it just seems like something where you're just like, hey, enough's enough. And you just surrender.
Holdout in Tlatelolco on the 13th of August. There they caught Cuauhtémoc in a canoe, hoping to flee the city to raise the Mexica banner elsewhere. After he was seized, Tenochtitlan fell silent for the first time in 2.5 months. A great city lay in ashes, and the Aztec Empire was at an end. But modern Mexico had just been born. Gold and silver flowed back into Spain, along with what are now modern food staples, such as corn, chocolate, vanilla, and chili. The conquest of Mexico saw the first great meeting between the old and new worlds, and the events that took place during it changed the fates of both worlds forever. Thank you for watching the last episode in our series on the Aztec civilization. We are planning to move to other regions, so make sure you are subscribed to our channel and have pressed the bell.
Wow. And then it comes on to be Mexico, man. And that's how, I never really thought about, where Mexico kind of came from. Obviously, Spain and all that, but how it actually formed and all that kind of stuff. So I was really cool just to kind of see how that all played out. And unfortunately, the Aztecs, got wiped out with it. But I mean, I guess that's just history in general. The strong survive and the weak, the weak get, they get wiped out. And so that's unfortunate. But it's definitely cool that we're able to kind of that a lot of the history, this was kind of, I guess, wrote down or whatnot, to where we were able to kind of learn of it now, and just kind of see what happened back then. I don't know if any of that made sense, but anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe. I appreciate those of you who watched, through the Maya and the Aztecs. Those of you who made it through the entire thing, I really appreciate it. Maybe your eyes are opened, just like mine, because I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't have really high expectations, to be honest, because I didn't know much about it, so I didn't really know what expectations to have. I honestly thought it was gonna be like a crash course. I didn't realize that we were gonna get like battles and war and stuff, and so I'm really happy that we got to have that through these series, because I thought that was really cool. And so especially the Mayan and the Aztecs, because there was just more info, for them to put videos together on what happened. Inca, there wasn't not a whole lot of history they could have pulled from because there wasn't a lot kept, you know, intact to figure out what exactly happened. I guess. I mean, they gave us some info, but there could have been more. Like there was like in the Mayan, the Aztecs. If you know what I mean. But anyways, guys, I really appreciate it. Awesome series, and I have no idea where we're going from here. I think someone mentioned that there was a new Caesar episode or something that came out, so I might have to check that out next to kind of get to date, because you know me, whenever Kings in General releases some kind of new Caesar video, Caesar's pretty cool and badass, and I like Roman Caesar and stuff, so I'll probably check that out. Don't hold me to it, you never know. But anyways, like and subscribe. Catch you guys in future videos, and yeah, peace. You guys are awesome.